you all for coming. My speech will be about Halloween today. So, over 175 million Americans will celebrate Halloween this year, and they will also spend over $9 billion on candy, costumes, and Halloween decorations. Now, with these facts in your heads, I want you to think, why do we celebrate Halloween? Why do we carve pumpkins? Why is the main theme of Halloween about things that scare us most? Many don't know. Many believe that Halloween is just a Hallmark holiday invented by the candy companies to get us to spend money. But after my speech, you will gain better knowledge of where some of our traditions and Halloween themes originated from. So, where did Halloween get its start? It got its start with a pagan festival called Samhain. Samhain was an ancient festival celebrated by Celtic pagans. Celtic pagans are one of Europe's earliest tribes, and they would have lived on land that is now Ireland, northern France, and the UK. On the night of Samhain, the Celts believed that it was the night to celebrate the end of a good harvest, the end of summer, and the beginning of a dark winter. They also believed that the world between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. So they believed that the living could cross over into the dead world, and also the dead could come back to the living world. So on this night, they would take precautions to protect themselves from any evil spirits that might come for them. They would light up the night with huge bonfires. They would create masks and wear them. They would also wear different clothes to disguise themselves from these harmful spirits. Samhain was celebrated on October 31st and still is in some pagan circles. So, how did Samhain make its way into our modern era? It made its way through Christianity. So, when Christians started to spread, and as Christians wanted to spread and convert as many people into Christians as possible, they would reinvent and reimagine pagan holidays with their own. An example of this was pagan Lemuria. This was celebrated by Roman pagans, and Lemuria was a day that they believed that the dead would come back to harm them. The Christians would make a holiday called All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Day it was actually called. And on this day, they would say that this was honoring the all holy Christian souls that had passed. With the invention of this, they would soon All Hallows' Day would be the popular practice, and Lemuria would fall out and no longer be celebrated. So, around 609 AD is when Christians decided that they would move All Saints, All Hallows' Day to November 1st. This was in efforts to try and drain the life out of Samhain as they did the pagan Lemuria. But this wasn't enough. They made another holiday that would be celebrated on November 2nd, and this day would be called All Souls' Day. And All Souls' Day would be a day to pray for all Christian souls, especially ones stuck in purgatory. So, children around this time in the medieval times would go door to door souling. Souling is where they would beg for these soul cakes that were spice cakes filled with raisins. And in turn for these spice cakes, they would offer up prayers to help the stuck souls in purgatory. And if enough prayers were said, it was said that the souls could possibly leave or become unstuck from purgatory. So, with the invention of All Hallows' Day and All Souls' Day, Samhain would no longer be called Samhain. Samhain would soon be called All Hallows' Evening, soon be called All Hallows' Eve, and then it would turn into what we now call it, Halloween. So, how did all of this make it to America? That would be through immigration. They would bring these holidays with them, but not only that, they would bring their old folk tales and their traditions that they would do on All Hallows' Eve, All Souls, and All Hallows' Day. Some of these traditions and folk tales were brought over by the Scottish. One in particular was the folk tale of the bogey. The bogey was believed to be a ghost or evil spirit that would be lurking around corners, tapping on windows, waiting to scare or snatch you. The bogey is where we got our boogeyman. They sound very similar and they're spelt very similar. So today the boogeyman is one of the main themes of Halloween. Another folktale that would be brought over was one by the Irish. So as the old Irish folktale goes, of a man called Stingy Jack. He was too evil even for hell, so he would be kicked out. But before he was kicked out, the devil would give him embers. And with these embers, he would carve out a turnip, put the embers inside, and he would walk around Earth for eternity. Many Irish children were scared of Stingy Jack. He would go through the years, they would call him Jack, Jack of the Lantern, and then soon he would be called just Jack-o'-lantern. In ways to protect themselves from these evil spirits like Stingy Jack, they would create their own. They would use turnips or potatoes and carve them out and put small lights in them and put them in their doorsteps or their windowsills to help scare away those evil spirits. So, when they came to America, they found that the native fruit of the pumpkin to America would be perfect for this jack-o'-lantern. So, all these things that I just talked about help shape and create the modern Halloween that we have today. Samhain, the festival of the end of a good harvest and the start of a dark winter where the world between the living and the dead was very thin. The creation of All Hallows Day and All Souls Day would also bring along that idea of the dead and unrest souls. And then immigrants bringing this to America along with their traditions and ways to, in their folk tales, to spread the Halloween theme with the idea of the bogey, the evil spirit, or the idea of Stingy Jack and creating the jack-o'-lantern. So today in Halloween, we do all of these things. We tell scary stories, we talk about the boogeyman, we carve pumpkins, we put them out on our doorsteps. Not necessarily that we believe that we're protecting ourselves from evil spirits anymore, but this is where it originated from. On Halloween, we can dress up and become someone or something that we're completely not or different than ourselves. It's the one night that we take chances to explore the things that scare us most. And we can say today that Halloween is one of the strangest holidays that we almost all of us, celebrate. So, thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you enjoyed it.